will become disappear, then that what? Diastolic pressure. Just
Diastolic pressure.
whenever the tapping sound is disappears, then whatever the cuff pressure is showing in this manometer, whenever it is showing this manometer, that is equals to diastolic pressure. But
Diastolic pressure.
nowadays, sphygmomanometers, everything like a digital one. So here, doctor no need to observe the systolic and diastolic pressures. Once if it has been measured, automatically it will show the systolic and diastolic pressure in the display. Is it yes or no? Before, doctor need to follow directly on this one by keeping the stethoscope, and also he need to check the rising of mercury level and all. And you can see mercury level 260 is there. Maximum here they are showing the 260. Why they are only rising to 200? Anybody? Why they are only rising to 200? Why can't they rise to 260? Anybody? Please, this is my question I am asking general. Why can't they rise? Nitinath, Arvind, Akshaya, anybody? Ashika? Why Pranav? Why can't they rise to 260? They can rise to 200, correct? I am saying that they can raise the maximum pressure of cuff. Cuff pressure maximum they are rising to 200 by inflating air, correct? Why can't they rise to 260? Anybody? Just ask, I'm asking the question. What will happen if I'll raise the pressure to 260? Please tell Ra. Just see, rubber cuff is inflated by pumping air into it, correct or not? So that the pressure is rising to 200 mmHg. What will happen if I'll raise to more than that? Any idea, anybody? Please let me know. Dina, high pressure inside the blood. So Nitinath is saying, not high pressure. Remember, if the pressure crosses to more than 200, remember 200, 210, 220, 240, what will happen? All of you tell me. Already crushed more. If it is completely crushed, what will happen? More rupture will take place. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
More
Yes, sir.
takes place. More rupture will take place means it will leads to what? Just now I told you today only.
Internal bleeding.
Internal bleeding. Do you understanding all of you? Internal bleeding means in the sense of arteries will damage or not?
Yes, sir.
Arteries will break. Understanding? Arteries will break, so that it will leads to what? Internal bleeding. That is what will happen. Suppose you see something, if I'll crush, what will happen? It will blast. Yes or no? More if I'll press. Suppose you see balloon. Normally I can press. Okay, nothing will happen. Something more I can press. Okay. But if I'll press more, what will happen? It will blast. Yes or no? The same thing will happen to the arteries. So that is why you can see it may lead to even the death of a person. So that is why maximum they cannot increase the rubber cuff pressure is more than 200. Already it is even 200 is more, because even you can see the BP is getting close to the 160. Systolic pressure is reaches to the 160. Means in the sense of by that time they will get the heart strokes and all. Do you understand all of you? Like in the sense of what we can say, this heart failures, or else we can say somebody's what is this called as? Recently we every time we are now hearing something they are getting. What is the disease called as? Heart failure. Heart failure, or what is the word we can use? Heart failures. Heart failure, what is the word we can use? You can say, correct me, correct Ra? I don't know, I'm not remembering. Heart attack. Understand? Heart attack, heart failure, this all the things. Even the blood pressure reaches to 160 also normally. At only it is very good. So only at certain situation only 200. Immediately it will be falls down. But if it is maybe narrowing of our arteries, or else some cardiac attack, some fat has been stored inside these arteries and all, then our blood pressure will reaches to more. Even 145 itself, it will be causes so many diseases, so many problems to our blood supply. If it will goes to 150, 160 systolic pressure, then definitely we people are going to die soon. That is what you have to understand. Means we are going to get first time heart stroke, second time heart stroke. Like we can say that level of heart stroke they will say. That is depend upon this arteries functioning only. So arteries are the main one which one carries the blood throughout our body. So if they are not functioning well, then we have to face a lot of issues in our body. So this is how we need to measure the blood pressure. Is there any doubt? Anybody please ask me. Now I will explain. If somebody will ask in exam, In exam, it will come. How the blood pressure will happening? Totally, how many steps it is taking place? How many steps? 3 steps it is taking place. Is it yes or no? So first step, inflating rubber cuff. Next one, decreasing the rubber cuff. Whenever we are having a first sound, first time we are having the tapping sound.
First tapping sound.
Called as systolic, and again the tapping sound will disappear. That is only called as what? Diastolic. The first one, rubber cuff pressure is increases to 200 mmHg by inflating air. So later, tapping sound systolic, and again tapping sound will disappear. That is called as diastolic pressure. Correct or not? So this is the 3 steps which is involving it. So the diagram also you can take care. You can keep it in our system or phone, so that whenever we are preparing for exam, it will be useful. Do you understand, all of you? Now, I will explain you what will happen during this one, because in exam they will ask you what will happen during this measuring of blood pressure. Means you have to write in a paragraph, correct? So now let us discuss how it will be happening. They will ask you, explain the measuring of blood pressure. So you can able to say anybody. Let us discuss now. So when a high pressure of about 200 mmHg, how to increase the high pressure? We are wrapping a rubber cup and we are inflating the air to it, so that 200 mmHg is applied to the arm. Applied to the arm by the what? By the cuff. Correct or not? Cuff. By the cuff, rubber cuff. So,
rubber cuff.
Which artery? Which artery will be closed? Some artery will be closed there. Which artery? Brachial artery or arm artery.
Arm artery.
Completely closed. Understanding? Closed fully, and hence no blood will flows in it. It will never come down. Have you noticed it? Even the picture
Yes,
I have shown you. Correct or not? Even the picture
Yes,
I have shown you or not? So in this picture you
Yes,
can
sir.
see no blood is coming downwards. Have you noticed it or not? So whenever the blood pressure is reaches to 200, this arm artery or else brachial artery is completely closed, so that no blood will flow downward direction. Do you understand, all of you? You have to write like that in exam. That is what I am saying you. So whenever the blood pressure is reaches to the 200 mmHg, is applied by the arm with the help of water. Who is applying this 200 mmHg? By rubber cuff. Understand? So this brachial artery or arm artery gets closed fully, and hence no blood flows in it. So that what will happen? So no blood flows in it, then we cannot heard any sound. Correct or not? Yes or no? So since no blood flows in this brachial artery at this stage when the pressure is 200 mmHg, so no tapping sound is heard in the stethoscope. So when the cuff pressure, this rubber cuff pressure is reduced slowly, then again the arm artery will start opening and the blood will start coming downwards. So whenever we are hearing the first time this tapping sound, do you understand, all of you? So reduced and becomes equal to the systolic pressure. We don't know whatever it is systolic pressure. Few times 115, or a few times 120, few times 130 also. Whenever our body systolic pressure it will be equals, then this brachial artery opens up slightly, and what will happen? There is understanding. So some blood flow, it will start moving into the downward direction. Is it yes or no? So when this blood will start moving towards the downward direction, we can hear a soft tapping sound.
Tapping sound.
Just begins to heard in the stethoscope. We can hear first time this tapping sound. Immediately that is only called as what? Our systolic or diastolic
pressure.
Systolic pressure. Now, again, when the pressure is reducing more and more and more, at certain situation means the cuff pressure is reduced further and it's become equal to the diastolic pressure. We don't know, sir, how much it is. Whenever it will become, again this tapping sound, this a soft tapping sound is just disappear. Means in the sense of what? The artery is completely open up. Correct or not? The arteries are fully open, so that the blood is flow fully, understanding, fully towards the downwards to the hand. Means it is restored, and hence there is no tapping sound. Just the tapping sound is disappears. So you can observe here, the artery is completely open. Yes or no? Yes or no? So it is completely like before, so that the blood will flow. Again, normally with understanding low pressure, that is only called as what? Diastolic.
Sir.
Diastolic pressure. So at this pressure, the understand the rubber cuff pressure, which is equal to the diastolic pressure, then again this soft tapping sound is disappears. So that point we can measure. That is what we can say. It is our diastolic pressure. All of you do understanding or not? Yes or no? So this is what the 3 steps involved in measurement of blood pressure. Measurement of blood pressure. All of you. Here 2 words you have to remember. One is what? Rubber cuff. Rubber cuff. Rubber cuff. Next one is what? Next one is what? Artery. Or also we can call it as what? Brachial artery. Understanding? Brachial artery. If you remember these 2, you can write a paragraph easily regarding this blood pressure. Correct or not? Here completely closed. Here completely closed. Here it will start opening slowly and the blood will start coming to a downward direction. Wherever we can heard first tapping sound, that is systolic. Again the tapping sound will disappear. That is called as diastolic pressure. Any doubt till here? Anybody please ask. That is what we can say, systolic and diastolic pressure. Any doubt? Anybody? Will you explain it or not? This is basically will come for 3 mark question. Define blood pressure and write the instrument which we use to measure this blood pressure, and also explain the procedure of measuring blood pressure. Then these 3 things you have to write it. Will you write it or not? Dina?
Yes, sir.
Very clearly, slowly how to write it. You want that answer also I will give you like as a paragraph so that you can understand, and you please take the screenshot of this one so that you can mention. Do you want the picture? Have you taken the screenshot or not?
Yep.
That screenshot you have to mention, you have to take care so that we can easily remember before the exam, before the revision of this exam. That is what you have to remember. So this is all about the blood pressure. Any doubt? Anybody please ask. Yeah, tell me, Kevin. Do you want the picture? Those who want, you can
show the picture.
Please take the screenshot of this picture. Is it okay? Completed? Okay.
Yes,
this is what about it. Now, let us come to, if you'll understand this, I hope you understand very well. Any doubt in this regarding blood pressure? Please tell me. Are you having doubt in regarding blood pressure? What is the instrument name? What is the instrument called as? Measuring blood pressure? What is the instrument name called as?
Meter.
Phycomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer. All of you heard the sound. If you want, you heard the sound now once again.
Sphygmomanometer.
What is that sound? Have you heard?
Sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer. You pronounce and you
Sphygmomanometer.
also.
Sphygmomanometer.
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 Have you heard?
Sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer.
Sphygmomanometer. That is what it is. Do you understand, all of you? So this is what about regarding blood pressure and how to measure the steps involving in blood pressure. So if you understand this, then the blood transportation means oxygen and deoxygenated is over towards to the arteries. Now, as well as also we know that the functions of blood we have studied. Blood is carrying oxygen and carbon dioxide, as well as it is carrying water, food also. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now,
Yes, sir.
what we are to study, how this food and oxygen reaches our body cell, because respiration reaction will take place inside our body cells only. So how it will be reaches? How do food and oxygen reach body cells? Please keep heading. How do food and oxygen reaches body cells? How it will reach us, Ra? Only by one transportation. What is the transportation? Blood transportation only. Correct or not? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can reach body cells. Now, as we already just now understanding, we know that everything has been carried by water. Whatever the things inside our body, including hormones, including understanding vitamins, including food, including digested food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, or else urea, which is being produced. Understand unwanted products like urea. This all the things has been carried by whom? Carried by
Blood.
whom? Blood only. Even it will control our, it will regulate our body temperature also. So everything has been done by this blood. That is what the functions of blood, which we have studied already in the previous class. So now, let us comes to here. How do this food and oxygen reach body cells? So the only way is what? Blood, correct? The blood only carries food and oxygen around the body. Wherever the body cell needs it, definitely it will carry. So now, how it will be taking place? Understand? So if it comes to here, blood never come in contact with the body cells because blood is only carrying the oxygen and food, whatever it is. But I am saying that this blood will never go and contact directly with this body cells. Then how it is exchanged? That is what my question. Then how do food and oxygen get from the blood to the body cells where they are needed? Wherever they are needed, it has been carried. How it is happening? I'm saying that they are not get contact directly. Blood and our body cells, they are not coming contact directly. So that how they will get this? Then I saying capillaries. Then I saying capillaries. So as we comes to know that, sir, that is what my question. So as we know, blood is only carrying food and oxygen. But I am saying that blood and body cells will never comes in contact each other. So how it is? That is what my question. How do food and oxygen get from the blood to the body cells, and wherever they are needed, they are supplying? How it is happening? That is what the question. Now, listen. How this is happening means this is happening with the help of plasma. What is that? With the help of what? Plasma. What is plasma? A liquid substance which is present in the blood. Correct or not?
Blood.
This plasma contains 90% what? 90%
Water.
what contains? Water. Correct. So this
Yes, sir.
plasma which leaks out from the blood capillaries, that is only which to called as tissue fluid. What we should call? Tissue fluid. So it will happen with the help of plasma which leaks from the blood capillaries around the body cells. All of you should remember. So as we know that mediator, arteries and veins, middle some very thin tubes are present. What is that called as?
Capillaries.
Capillaries.
So around these capillaries, the help of this plasma will produce some kind of a tissue like a semi kind of fluid. That is only we should call as what? A tissue fluid. What we should call? Tissue fluid. Understand? So which is produced by, which will leaks out from the blood capillaries. That is what we should call as tissue fluid. So the liquid from the blood which is forced out through the capillary walls and moves between all the body cells is only called as tissue fluid. So this tissue fluid which has been leaked out from the plasma is only supplying oxygen and food to the body cells because blood is not coming in contact with the body cells. Do you understand, all of you? Yes or no? Please tell me. So,
Yes, sir.
these, understand, if you observe these capillaries, blood capillaries, they are already very, very thin walls. We know that already, correct? They are very, very minute thin tubes. So, when this blood will flows through these capillaries, a liquid called as, what is that liquid, Raj? Just now I said. What is the liquid called as? What is that liquid? Tissue fluid.
Plasma.
which will leaks from the capillaries and goes into a tiny spaces between various body cells in the tissues. So this tissue fluid only will carries food and oxygen from the blood to the cells and picks up their again wastage. What is that waste? Reverse waste is what?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, whatever the waste products like carbon dioxide, after the supplying to the body cells, again it is only bringing and it is only giving to the capillaries. Again, capillaries only giving to what? Veins. Do you understand? Veins in the sense of blood. So that is only we should call it as deoxygenated blood. So this is what the use of this tissue fluid, the which is leaks out from the plasma, is only supplying food and oxygen to the body cells and again bringing back the waste products like carbon dioxide. So most of this tissue fluid seeks back into the blood capillaries again. So the remaining tissue fluid carrying a large protein molecules, digested fat, germs from the cells and fragmented of dead cells, everything, fragments of dead cells, everything they will be entering into the another type of tiny tubes which we used to call as lymph capillaries. Have you heard a lymph capillaries? Anybody? Lymphotic system, which we'll study in the tomorrow's class. Tomorrow we'll study that. Remaining this, all this digested fat, protein molecules, everything. Some liquid will be, so most of the liquid, most of the tissue fluid will be again back into these capillaries, and some fluid which will carry these large molecules of proteins and digested fat, germs from the cells, and as well as dead cells, everything they will be understanding. They will be entering into the another type of tiny tubes, which we used to call as what? Lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries, and it becomes into lymph. It will becomes into what? Lymph. What is this lymph and what is this lymphatic system, and everything we'll study in the next class. So means in the sense of this lymph along with this all these digested fats and protein molecules and the germs of the other cells and the dead cells and all, they will be returned into the blood by another type of transport system. That is only we used to call as lymphotic system. What we should call? Lymphatic system, that we will discuss in the tomorrow. Now here you have to remember two things. So who is supplying the food and oxygen to the body cells? Who is supplying? Some kind of fluid is leaked out. Some kind of fluid is leak out from where? Leak out from plasma. Do you understand, all of you? Leak out from where? Leak out from plasma, which leaks from the blood capillaries around the body cells. That is what you have to remember. With the help of plasma, the capillaries will leak out the fluid. That is what we should call as. What is the name of the fluid called as? Leak out from capillaries. Understanding, all of you? Leak out from capillaries. With the help of plasma. With the help of plasma. That is only called as what? Tissue fluid. Fluid. So this tissue fluid only will absorb food and oxygen from the blood, and it will be supplied to the what? Supplied to the body cells. Now again, also it will bring from the body cells again waste products,
Carbon dioxide.
Again they will be bring back into the capillaries, and again this capillaries, it will be transported to water. It will be transported to the blood, and this blood will be transported to the where? Blood will be transported to the what? Veins, and veins will be carry the blood into again where? Into the heart. Yes or no? This is what. So here only one thing you have to remember. Some tissue fluid has been generated, will be leaked out. Means some fluid has been generated by capillaries. With the help of what? With the help of plasma. That is only will carries the food and oxygen from the blood into the body cells. That is what you have to remember it. Again, after supplying, again this tissue fluid will be back into the capillaries. Most of the fluid will be back into the capillaries, and some of the fluid, tissue fluid will brings the remaining substances like big protein molecules and digested fats and dead cells and any other cells of organisms, gems like the cells. All these things has been transported to the another kind of part called as what? Lymph. What we should call? Lymph. So this lymph, they will be again separately, they will come into the blood. That is what we should call as lymphatic system, which we'll discuss in the tomorrow's class. Now you have to remember, so many times I have observed the previous year's questions and all, they have been asked, what is tissue fluid? What is the functioning of tissue fluid? What is tissue fluid, Ra? What is the functioning of tissue fluid? What is tissue fluid? Anybody define tissue fluid? Kevin, Nitinath, Pranav, what is tissue fluid? Yalni? Tissue fluid, what is tissue fluid? Which has been secreted by what? Which has been leaked out by what? Leaked out by? Leaked out by capillaries. Leaked out by capillaries with the help of what? With the help of plasma. That is what you have to remember. Write it. The liquid from the blood, which is forced out, the liquid from the blood, which is forced out, through the capillary walls, which is forced out through the capillary walls, and moves between where? Moves between body cells, is called tissue fluid. Is called tissue fluid. Which has been leaked out by what? Which has been leaked out by what? Which has been leaked out or else leak out by capillaries. With the help of what? Capillaries with the help of
Plasma.
With the help of whom?
Plasma.
So this is what we should call as tissue fluid. What is the function, Ra? What is the function of tissue fluid?
Absorb food and oxygen and supply to blood.
Oxygen and food. It will carry oxygen and food from where? From blood to
Blood. Body parts.
Body cells, and also brings back what? And bring back waste products. What is that waste product?
CO2.
Carbon dioxide.
CO2 from body cells. Do you understand, all of you? This is what the function. Do you understand, all of you? That is.
Yes,
again, this fluid, whatever the fluid, this tissue fluid is bringing the food and oxygen to the body cells. Most of the fluid will come back into the what? Come back into the capillaries again. Do you understand? only some amount of tissue fluid which will carries the big protein molecules, and as well as that another thing, digested fat, germs from the cells and dead cells, which is entering into the another tiny tubes. This will be carried into, that is only another tiny tubes which is to called as what? Lymph capillaries, and they will become into the lymph. So that is only we used to called as lymphatic system. So that we will study in the tomorrow's class. So till here, is there any doubt? Please ask me, anybody. Kind. Do you have any doubt regarding in this? Ask. So today's class we have studied mainly two things. What is that? How to measure the blood pressure, and who will carry the food and oxygen and as well as carbon dioxide between the blood and the body cells. Is it?
Body cells.
So as we know, mediator, some mediator is present between the veins and arteries. That is what we should call as capillaries. But these capillaries, they will secrete some kind of fluid that is only called as what? Tissue fluid, with the help of plasma, and that is only will absorb the oxygen and food from the blood and will be supplied to the body cells, and again back the waste products of body cells, that is carbon dioxide, into the
carbon dioxide
and again capillaries into the body blood. That is what. So very important. Actually, this what is tissue fluid and what is the functioning of tissue fluid? So many times they have been asked, and as well as this one, measure one. How to measure blood pressure and what is systolic and diastolic pressure, and what is the use of this rubber cuff? How we are increasing rubber cuff, pressure of rubber cuff? These all the questions they will ask you for like one mark questions and all they will ask you. So by that time you must know what is the systolic pressure and how to measure, like explain the process of measuring the blood pressure of a human body. What is the instrument? Like this they will ask you. So what is the instrument pronunciation? How to read?
Sphygmomanometer.
Spelling S-P-H-Y, spig. S-P-H-Y-G-M-O, sphygmo. Manometer, we know that. M-A-N-O-M-E-T-R, manometer. Sphygmo alone spelling you have to learn. See, as usually I am very poor in spelling, but you are not supposed to be, because marks, they will be deduct, biology, they will deduct the marks for spellings also. So be very careful. Sphygmo, what is the spelling of sphygmo? S-P-H-Y-G. P-H-Y-G-M-O, sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer is a device which we use to measure blood pressure. Do you understand, all of you? So measuring of blood pressure involves how many steps, Ra? How many steps?
3 steps.
3 steps. That is also you have to remember. That's all. So with this, I will stop the today's class. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.